Ladies and gentlemen, we now move into our next interesting session, Powering a Hyper-Connected World, Next Generation of Engineering. This session provides insights into what this world will look like in 2030 and the positive and negative effects of hyperconnection. Our speaker for this session is Stephen Hall, President EMEA, ISG. Stephen is a seasoned and proven executive leader in strategic consulting and advisory services. He has led some of ISG's largest and most complex engagements. He brings considerable experience in emerging technologies like cloud automation, mobile, DevOps, etc., to ISG clients. It's an honor to have you here with us this morning, Steve. Over to you.
Thank you, Justin. Hello, everybody. I'm Steve Hall with ISG. I'm the president of our European business and head of our digital business for the firm. I'm excited today to really talk about some of the key trends in digital engineering. It's an amazing market. Spend is up. Annual contract value is way up. I think we've all seen some of the acquisitions that have taken place in the market, and it's an incredible time to really see the growth in the whole digital engineering space. So again, thank you to Nasscom for hosting this incredible event. And I think we're all going to walk away with a better appreciation of what the market means. So first, let me start with a few facts. First, engineering spend is on a meteoric rise. As you can see, we had over 1.9 billion ACV award in 2021. It's the highest it's ever been. We had almost 700 million of ACV awarded just in Q2 of 2022. So we continue to be on this rapid pace. For those that don't know, ISG tracks the entire market, including engineering spend or R&D spend across. We look at deals of sort of 5 million and above. So it gives us a really good perspective of the spend in engineering and really all the services from an outsourcing perspective. We then take that, we cross-reference it with data from service providers and their spend, and we can just see this incredible change in the market as we go forward. But if you think about that spend, it's very traditional to what we see sort of the traditional managed services being. Engineering spend is really across all regions, but is still mainly focused in the manufacturing area, and 56% of the spend, or the ACV of the spend, is in the Americas. So the Americas market has been really strong on the engineering for a number of years, but the European market, especially led by Germany, is growing, and APAC really represents 17% of the market, so there's some great opportunities there. Now, when we look at verticals and we think about an ACV by vertical, as we'd expect, manufacturing is 45% of the business, which has been just great growth. But BFSI is also expanding, and on the banking and insurance side, what we're really seeing is sort of this rise of platforms. So not only the integration for the customer experience, but deep software engineering and deep engineering to develop the platforms and the data components to really fuel the enterprises of the future for banking and financial services and insurance. Telco, I think, will continue to be a major growth area as well. And though energy is only 5% of the overall business now, I think we can expect to see growth in energy as we go forward as well. So my question is, did the world change during the pandemic, or was this really just magical thinking? I mean, what has changed that's made engineering all of a sudden sort of the growth engine that it's become, growing at the rates that we've seen as I started off? I would say a couple things. One, I'd put it to the pandemic in the supply chain challenges that we saw, the changing customer expectations, a little bit of even the work from home and the impact on engineering. But more broadly, I would really associate it with the digital transformation that's been taking place really for the last 5 to 7 years. And with the physical becoming digital and digital driving the physical, the impact of digital twins, the threading of information, driving key decisions just from a replica of the physical device. And then all things, really client experience and client driven. How do we think through a do experience and more converged experience as we go through? And what we constantly see over and over is this growth of adaptive organizations, or what we think about integrated product-oriented development or integrated product teams. So global product development is now the de facto model for most enterprises. Not only was this impacted in IT and sort of the traditional outsourcing markets, but we're really seeing this same model rapidly being applied to engineering. So software is eating the world. We've all heard the expression many, many times. That's really carrying forward in the engineering space as we move forward. But I would say engineering's not the same anymore. It was accelerated by the COVID pandemic, but again, on the engineering side, from a digital standpoint, I think that was the biggest driver. So first, we're no longer designing for products. We're designing for experience. We're designing for services. So think about connected cars and entertainment and infotainment systems. The car is not the product that we sell anymore. It's so many of the services that are added on. We aren't completing for functionality at the point of sale anymore. Really, it's continuous. We're trying to create a set of services. Every enterprise is trying to create a set of services that are integrated through the lifespan of that product or service. That's the sort of the connective tissue that we now see on connecting clients through the product, through the whole value chain as we go forward. And we're capturing products not anymore through hardware and products, but really, again, through software, the data, the long-term sustainability of that product, the whole life cycle or circular ecosystem that we think through. So data has become as much as the product and the monetization strategy as what used to just be the hardware product in the past. And, maybe the biggest change is we're not in secure, isolated environments anymore. We don't have our factory or just our individual development taking place. Just as we've seen the explosion of the cloud, we're in this broad, really supply chain environment or ecosystem now. And Industry 4.0 is really driving a hyper-connected, intelligent, and heterogeneous environments, smart, intelligent, connected, all of this sharing information in new and creative ways. It's a lot of work and what's really driving the engineering space going forward. So we've identified engineering and really put it in 4 different categories now because the space is so long. We're doing a lot of research on this, and these are sort of the 4 categories that you see. So design and development services, sort of the traditional product and services piece, but rapidly expanding. Connected intelligent operations. How do you sort of connect everything through the supply chain, carry that through, but more importantly, how to use data and analytics to drive value from the shop floor to the top floor and really be able to have those connected engineering experience. The customer experience is integrated through the entire experience now. It's no longer just about the hardware device, but it's the hardware, the software, the platform, the data completely connected through. And that really provides a different set of expertise that's required to drive that experience as you think through it. And then finally, and I think maybe the most important, is platforms and digital engineering services. Data is really, again, the fuel that's driving so many enterprises and organizations forward. And having a platform that shares data, intelligent insights, analytics across the entire ecosystem is absolutely critical to the growth of long-term organizations. Again, shop floor to top floor, that's really where we're seeing platforms and digital engineering services be able to tie that together to drive the next level of growth as we go forward. So I want to talk about 3 mega trends. And the first mega trend is really focused on what we call the IT-OT integration, or maybe more importantly, the IT-ET-OT-CT transformation. So what do we mean by that? Kind of all the way through from aligning the data to redesigning the ecosystem, we think digital engineering is being completely remodeled. There's new security protocols, there's new integration of information technology and operational technology. Engineering technology sits at the heart of it to really connect. And then you've got the client, you've got the customer at the core of everything that we think through. What does that whole value stream look like? And how can outsourcing GSIs, India, organizations really help drive the megatrend? We've got expertise in all of this. We've helped reimagine organizations before. We understand data extremely well. And it's this level of integration that's really kind of taking that through. So when you hear about IT-OT integration, it's the integration of the systems, the processes, the people, but most importantly, the data as we go across. The second big mega trend is clearly Industry 4.0, but it's really, again, driven by the digital twins and the thread, if you will, across the product lifecycle and ecosystem. So everything from the system lifecycle management to edge adoption, we're really thinking through the impact of IoT 4.0 or Industry 4.0 in really new ways. So first of all, in the system lifecycle management, we're already seeing big projects on PLM upgrades, really thinking through new ways to manage the portfolio all the way through. Again, just like software, features and functions are coming in constantly now, and you need to rethink through how those features, functions, those sets really help drive the next evolution. And the insights that we want from IoT and connected devices, whether it's for autonomous driving or predictive operations across so many different enterprises, all of that data is now coming together in real time to drive better analytics, to drive deeper insights, and really drive that next predictive operations as we go forward. Edge, just like cloud, continues to be a major transformative effort on the market. I think we're seeing Edge part of the key solution for so many organizations now when they assess workloads. Do they assess the cloud, the edge, internal data center, but really being able to connect that workload closest to where it makes sense. And obviously, the more connected devices we have, the more autonomous devices we have, the closer that edge adoption is going to have to be as we go forward and drive that through. And finally, the third major megatrend is really this whole, I'll call it the virtualization of the enterprise, but really it's data-driven and software. And if you think the beginning of our industry and sort of how, we started the whole outsourcing drive, it became this huge need for, application development, quite frankly, and it grew into other areas and it grew into BPO. We're at that same place where software and data-driven capabilities are table stakes for organizations. They're table stakes to have software-enabled devices now. So with the amount of engineering that's taking place, we're really driving new ways of thinking through and how to drive that capability. That means standardization, tools, technology, methodologies, all of which we've scaled over the last 30 years in the business. We've got a global talent footprint. Engineers are hard to come by, and part of the growth challenges that we've had through sort of 2010 to maybe even 2020 had a lot to do with how we defined engineering and the harder types of problems we were trying to solve. So much of that now moving to software. India especially has the talent to be able to capture this explosion, be able to really provide the talent pool, the expertise associated. I know we're in a talent war. I suspect many people are going to talk about that as they go forward in different sessions. There's a great opportunity. The demand is high. Even if we talk about some of the macroeconomic conditions, I think we'll continue to see great growth as we go forward. The other key piece is organizations still have to make versus buy decisions across. The engineering side is really different though, because even if you decide to do a make versus a buy or a design and a build, you still have to focus on the integration of the data and the analytics that drive it. So that throughput, that quality, that sort of operating model that we talked through is really going to continue to drive the next level of growth. Good news is India really continues to lead in the digital engineering space. So this is just a sample of a ISG provider lens report that we pulled. This one happens to be for Europe, and it really looks at platforms and application services, which we think is one of the big growth areas for digital engineering services. And you can see in the top quadrant, you've got a lot of leaders that are the traditional India-based firms or organizations, world-class organizations with a really large presence in India. You have TCS and Accenture, LTTS, HCL, Capgemini. Further down, you have lots of new India firms that are making their presence known and really driving. So as we continue to provide the research and the insights, we'll really continue to help drive this forward. And I think what I would like to leave with is just a thought that really the digital platforms, again, are the leader. Single source of truth, where all data generated and collected in the company are stored. Enabling that, making that data real, making that platform available and dynamic and insightful is really the foundation for every digital organization going forward. And every company has to be a digital company going forward. So what does this mean? First of all, it means the transformation is spanning both strategy and implementation. Engineering and OT deals are becoming complex, multiple year, large deals. We're seeing it in all of our deal data. Again, if you look at it, you exceeded 1.9 billion last year. We're going to exceed that tremendously this year. We're almost at $1 billion of ACV per quarter. So, you're seeing this big rise, and I think you're going to continue to see that going forward. The second thing I would leave you with is there's a really blurring ecosystem between the sell side and the sell with opportunities. So think about a Siemens or a Bosch or organizations, a Philips, that are very much engineering companies, but are also now developing products and organizations and software solutions, teaming with the likes of autonomous drivers like BMW or Volkswagen or Tesla. The integration of the hardware and software is so important as we look going forward. So I think we're in a model, we're in an ecosystem where partnering is critical. Really, my encouragement would be for all of us to look for really innovative ways to partner, to source, to transform together as we continue to grow out the organization. Thank you. Have a great rest of the summit. Hope you really enjoy it. And Justin, back to you.
Thank you, Steve, for that interesting and insightful presentation.